Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren unveiling a shocking new proposal that would nationalize every major business in America. The new legislation, called the Accountable Capitalism Act, would constitute the largest seizure of private property in human history. So what would it do to our economy? What would it look like with the government in charge of our largest corporations? Let's ask the CEO of Walser Wealth Management, Rebecca Walser. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. What's your immediate reaction to this idea that all of a sudden the government would nationalize all these companies?
Well, I'm glad that she's bold enough to actually tell us exactly what she wants, because now we can call a spade a spade. This is definitely socialism, because socialism is public ownership of companies where all the profits are actually redistributed to stakeholders instead of shareholders.
Yeah, let me just break down the bill for you, and then we can let you pull it apart. So this is what Elizabeth Warren says, because as you point out, she's being direct. She's being blunt about saying, I want socialism. The Accountable Capitalism Act restores the idea that giant American corporations, she writes, should look out for American interests. Corporations with more than $1 billion in annual revenue would be required to get a federal corporate charter. She says the bill also would give workers a stronger voice in corporate decision-making at large companies, and employees would elect at least 40% of the directors to address self-serving financial incentives in corporate management. That's what she says is in the bill. What's your reaction to that?
You know, Ed, it's just simply unnecessary. Corporations already answer to the American public. Look at the rise of social media. When somebody is not happy with something that corporations are doing, it's all over Twitter. There's boycotts. We already have really ownership of public corporations through boycotting. You know, if you don't like what they're doing, you don't go there. So what she's trying to do is really say, let's take the profits of these corporations and let's use them for our purposes. And so what we have to look at is how good is the government at taking resources and effectively using them. And so the VA comes to mind, Medicare comes to mind, Social Security comes to mind. These are all financially inept systems, and American businesses reach $1 billion because they are privately managed, and with regulation, already government regulation, they're free to do as they are what they do.
I've got 30 seconds, but you mentioned Medicare. She and others, Bernie Sanders, have been calling for Medicare for all. Vox, a liberal publication, says if you do that, you do so-called free tuition. It's going to cost tens of trillions of dollars over the next 30 years. In 30 seconds, what's that going to do to the markets?
It's just impossible. Who's paying for it, Ed? Where is the money coming from? Government creates nothing. It redistributes only. Money has to exist. It has to be created. We have to have free market capital creating money in order to be able to have money to use. And the government seems to forget that.
Rebecca Walser, as you said, Democrats are being direct about if we're elected, if we take over Congress in the midterms, this is the kind of thing we're going to lay out. We appreciate you coming in.